When editing a film, many choices are made completely based on subjective views of what works best. Ultimately, the final cut is what the director and editor agree is right for the story. However, after many years of collective experience among editors, there are some general objective rules that you want to keep in mind while editing. The first rule of which seems obvious: don't cut unless you need to. The idea here is that there should always be a reason to make a cut. Otherwise, why would you? This rule seems relatively straightforward, but how do we know when we should cut? What are the reasons to cut? Let's take a look at a scene from Moonlight, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 2017. Oh, and I hope this goes without saying, but there will be spoilers, so you've been warned. As you watch this scene, notice when the editor decides to cut, and think about why they decided to do that.
I'm only one step ahead of
Right with you.
heartbreak, one step ahead of misery. One step is all I have to take.
Right.
Your
Right.
on my shoulder,
Right, man. How you doing tonight? What can I get you? Wrong? Damn, man. Why you ain't say nothing?
What did you notice? Seemed like a pretty average scene, right? In fact, there doesn't really seem to be anything special about this scene at all. Well, that's because I lied. This wasn't the actual scene from the movie. This is a version that I cut together. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this cut, but it definitely isn't the best choice for the scene. You see, this is a huge moment in the course of the story. Chiron is about to visit the only person he has ever loved after years of being apart. To be consistent with the rest of the film, we want the audience to feel his emotion, to feel his anticipation and trepidation. So here's how the beginning of the scene actually plays out. Already, this version serves the story and characters much better than my edit. By holding on to one shot, we are able to build the tension and really highlight how Chiron is feeling, which it all comes down to emotion. Again, we want the audience to be inside Chiron's head here. We lose that if we cut. So let's take a look at what comes next.
I'm only
As you can see, we have another one shot. Actually, it seems like the only reason there's a cut between outside and inside is because they had to move the camera inside the diner. So we have that quick cutaway to the bell. In general, the main reason why we cut is to reveal new information. And of course, that information should advance the story in some way. Here we don't need to cut to see anything else, because the camera movements in the shot reveal new information as Chiron looks around. What the other side of the diner looks like doesn't matter. The focus here is on Chiron. We also don't cut to Kevin when we first see him, because he hasn't recognized Chiron yet, so there's no reaction to show. Not cutting also makes him blend into the background, and keeps Chiron the focus of the scene. We really want the audience to feel in the moment with Chiron, and cutting, again, would disrupt that. So the first time we cut in this scene is to a close-up of Kevin once he sees Chiron and realizes who he is. Once Kevin is in Chiron's world, we can cut back and forth between the two of them. The rest of this scene is cut together pretty standard, which makes sense because it is a very dialogue-heavy scene. What is done really well is that the editors only cut to show emotion, whether it's the character talking or the one who's listening. They don't cut until there's something new to show. Cutting back and forth simply to follow who is speaking would be the wrong decision for this scene because, again, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, this scene is really about emotion. You could watch this scene without the dialogue and have a pretty good idea of what's going on because the editors chose to cut to what is important and only when they needed to, which is especially important in a film like Moonlight. So, in conclusion, remember that as an editor, it is your job to find just the right moment to